All right, YouTube, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Very spring-like weather tonight. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. All right, so the NCAA tournament will be coming around pretty soon. We do not know where these Auburn Tigers will wind up, but they're going to be in that thing nonetheless. Maybe they can make a run to the Final Four just like last year, but who knows? Nobody knows yet. Spring football starts March the 16th. They want to wait till all the kids come back from spring break, give the football players an opportunity to enjoy downtime before the rigorous training that takes place during spring training. Hopefully everybody will come back healthy and ready to roll, be focused on what could be a very successful season for the Auburn Tigers. And as we look at the 2020 schedule, big shout out to the Auburn Tigers in a very interesting schedule that has North Carolina out of the ACC as the second game. Also has it set up to where the SEC West will, no matter what, no matter how the cookie crumbles, will be decided within the last 2 weeks of the season, as Auburn has LSU at home and then has to go to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama the following week. That's a very interesting setup, playing those two teams 2 weeks apart. Be very interesting to see how that plays out. Now, because of that, Auburn will actually play Georgia earlier in the season. And guess who else is on the schedule? Kentucky. Now, what would have been even more intriguing about the Kentucky game, if you all remember, Auburn had a pretty good quarterback in Joey Gatewood last year, 6'5", 233 pounds, 4-star recruit out of Bertrand Trail in Florida. Arguably one of the more athletic quarterbacks on the roster. A lot of folks thought, at least I thought as well, that Joey Gatewood should have been the starting quarterback last year. Let's just be frank. A lot of us thought that it was like literally a house divided with the Auburn fan base, that Joey Gatewood should start. No. Bo Nix should start. Then we jump back and forth. Bo Nix, no. Joey Gatewood. Finally, week before the Oregon game, Bo Nix is the starter for the Auburn Tigers and pretty much held on to the reins. Actually, not pretty much, did hold on to the reins without any level of threat internally of Joey Gatewood taking the starting position. Even in somewhat perceptual struggles, Bo Nix still maintained the position over what I thought was a very viable backup to even come in when we look at the Florida game, for example. There was some struggles within that game where it's possible, especially at the heat of the moment, that it would have been very tempting for a coaching staff to bring Joey Gatewood in and see what Joey can do. But when you look at it from a more objective standpoint, Bo Nix didn't do as bad as I thought in the Florida game. Made a couple of misreads, but overall, Auburn still had the opportunity to win that particular football game. Now, that's not to go in post facto, after the fact defense of Joey Gatewood not starting. But I think when we really look back, Bo Nix didn't look, it wasn't as terrible as we thought. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think Joey Gatewood should have gotten an opportunity to show in-game what he could do, or maybe it was a situation in practice where he did, and the coaches just didn't feel that based on what they saw in practice, they didn't feel that Joey Gatewood was the man for the job. And that's up to a coaching staff to determine. We can go with the Cam Newton comparisons, whatever we may want to do. I just, that's just up for the coaches to decide. Now, Auburn goes down to Baton Rouge in a very crucial football game last year, I thought. Well, I didn't think it actually was. Auburn down in the red zone. Usually, if we use the season as a guide, behavior-wise, as far as coaching decision goes, there was an instance, I think it was like second down and short or something like that, to where it would have made sense based on what the coaches have done before for Joey Gatewood to come in the red zone. That's where he was mostly used throughout the season. But Gus Malzahn all but violently held Joey Gatewood back. When Joey Gatewood thought, hey, this is the time for me to come in, Gus Malzahn pushes Joey Gatewood back, basically, no, you're not going in right now. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Joey Gatewood. Obviously, a quarterback that, at least from a stature standpoint, from probably a possible ability standpoint, it just seemed like he felt that his time was up at Auburn. It's no way that the writing was on the wall. No way I'm going to make it here at Auburn. So, after which, Joey hits the transfer portal and, strangely enough, finds a SEC East school in Kentucky. Kentucky actually has a couple of good quarterbacks there. Joey Gatewood would possibly fit very well in the mix, give them a different element. The only issue is, outside of any unforeseen waiver, Joey Gatewood ain't playing this year. And the reason why that's so unfortunate is because this is the rotation for the SEC East to where Auburn takes on Kentucky. Won't happen again for another 4 years. If by chance Joey does not get the waiver, Auburn and Kentucky will never take on each other as long as Joey Gatewood is there, barring the unforeseen or unlikely event that Auburn is in the SEC championship game and Kentucky is in the SEC championship game, and not even mentioning Georgia with the #1 recruiting classes year in and year out. Florida has emerged, and there's almost virtually no possibility that this will happen. But what if, it would be nice, though, to where we could kind of put the Joey Gatewood versus Bo Nix thing to rest literally on the field, but they're just playing at the wrong time. And it's really unfortunate. If Joey can somehow not only get a waiver, but actually win. You still got a starting job you got to win. It's not like going to Kentucky guarantees him a starting spot. Because by and large, if we look at it, he lost the starting spot to a true freshman that had played in a state championship game in Jordan-Hare Stadium a few months prior. So it would have been interesting to see, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. But would have been nice, though. All right, guys, once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and click the bell twice, like the video. Make sure you leave your comments on the wishful thinking of Bo Nix and Joey Gatewood going head-to-head, but won't happen. Unless, like I said before, Joey Gatewood can dig up some kind of waiver. Of course, Asa Martin, who went to Auburn, transferred over to, I think he's now he had to sit out a year because if you look back, Auburn somewhat, it's first year of the 4-game rule, and I think Auburn probably irresponsibly utilized him and wound up burning his red shirt. But he didn't have any, unforeseen circumstance that would allow him to play immediately. So, of course, he couldn't do it. But you had guys like Justin Fields who immediately went into action, and because of the graduate transfer rule, Jalen Hurts was able to immediately play at Oklahoma. But like I said before, probably not going to happen. Again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.